how'd you do? I see you've met my faithful hand-in-hand. He's just a...
Hi guys, it's Sheena, the Sports Report girl / bunny, here for your Pro Football Week in review. So there was some big news this week in the National Football League, but perhaps none bigger than the revelations that as many as 8 different players have tested positive under the NFL's banned substance policy. Of the 8, 3 are said to be from New Orleans Saints, running back Deuce McAllister and defensive ends Will Smith and Charles Grant. It should be noted, though, that 4 of the 8, including McAllister, have tested positive for using a drug known as a water pill, which is commonly prescribed for losing weight. Apparently, water pills are banned because they can mask the effects of steroids. Attorney David Cornwell has been retained to defend several of the players, including long snapper Brian Pittman of the Houston Texans. First offenses under the NFL's drug policy receive a 4-game minimum suspension. 4 games would not be fun for any of the players, but especially McAllister, who is primed to take over a larger role with the New Orleans offense, as Reggie Bush has been sidelined with his knee injury. Speaking of the Saints, New Orleans was in London this past week for its home game against the Chargers at Wembley Stadium. By playing a regular season game in England for the 2nd straight year, the NFL is continuing its attempts at broadening the appeal of American football around the world. In 2005, Arizona and San Francisco played in Mexico City, 2 terrible teams, but it was a huge success, so the owners decided to start playing games abroad each year, starting last season with the Giants and Dolphins. As far as I can tell, the idea hasn't been wildly popular in this country, but that's not the point. The point is making it wildly popular in other countries. I believe that is exactly what's going to happen, but it may take years, probably even decades. So if the NFL were smart, they wouldn't play just 1 or 2 games abroad each year, but more like 4 or 5. If marketed properly, American football would become an international sport on the same level as baseball and basketball, which would mean eventually a team of our best players would lose to a team from another country. So on second thought, maybe that isn't such a good idea after all. Come on people, I say we call representatives in Washington. Let's do everything we can to keep American football American. Moving on, Commissioner Roger Goodell admitted this week that Pacman Jones could be eligible for a return yet again to the NFL. He was very critical of Jones, offering the breaking news that Pacman has made some bad choices over the last couple of years. Really? You think so, Roger? And early last week, Cowboys owner Jerry Jones, no relation, if you were wondering, announced that Pacman had checked into an alcohol treatment center in another part of the country. But the way the elder Jones has been so loyal to the younger Jones, you'd think there must be some sort of relation. Why else would Jerry tolerate the mere possibility of Pacman returning to his team? Of course, I jest about them being related, but really, what gives? Why is Jerry so forgiving? And for that matter, why is the commissioner so open to the possibility? It's clear Pacman entered the treatment program not because he feels he has a drinking problem, but because it was the only chance that he had at getting back into the league. Now, I'm not saying Jones should be banned for life, okay? This past incident doesn't warrant that type of punishment, but when looking at his behavior as a whole, it's clear he's used up all his second chances. And this for a player who is not a star. That's what I'm trying to say. He is no Tom Brady or Ocho Cinco. He is an average corner who can return punts. That's it. I'm all for Pacman getting his life in order and back on track, partly because I don't want to see anybody throw his life away, but mostly I'm just sick of the guy and I don't want to hear about him anymore. So for the love of God, Pacman, get your act together, okay? All right. Okay, guys, now that I have added my contribution to the media's overexposure of Pacman, let's wrap things up. Before we go, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have other cool videos like Backspin and the College Football Week in Review. So be sure to check them out, please. Also, we love your questions and comments, so don't forget to post them. And you can do that on our channel, or you can send them to srg@thesportsreportgirl.com. And of course, there's always our fan page on Facebook. See you back here next week for another edition of the Pro Football Week in Review.
I'm just a sweet transvestite from transsexual Transylvania.